I even remember like yelling like I'm dying. I had this huge profound ego death, and it was a tuggle. I mean, this version of my ego was not gonna let go without a fight. I'm not the person who just kind of again closes their eyes and blasts off. Like a lot of physical stuff is always happening. I'm releasing, my body's like bouncing off the ground, or I'm shaking and releasing. No, I'm here to be a reflection of how powerful you are, because you are powerful, whether you want to choose it or not, or you believe it or not. The people who do want to see it within themselves, they end up crossing in my path, and I mirror their power back to them. Because again, we are all powerful beings. We are all God having an individual experience. Welcome back to the Power and Purpose podcast. I'm your host, Vanessa Soul. Thank you so much for joining in and tuning into today's episode. I greatly appreciate it. Today, we're just going to do a Vanessa Soul solo episode. It's not going to be part of the astrology series. I just was kind of feeling called to make this one more about my personal life and just share my recent experience. We learned so much from each other. We can gain so much inspiration, or we can just learn, or we can get a lot of questions answered when we just listen to someone else's experience. And so that's what this episode is going to be about today. So I was feeling called to do Bufo Alvarez for the third time, and I did it about a week ago. And so I just want to share my experience, and I'll just start off like super honest. Like I've been called to do this medicine for at least 3 years. The last time I did it was 3 years ago. And I was feeling called to do it, but I honestly just had resistance because I know how powerful I am when I go into this container with the beautiful, intelligent medicine of Bufo alveris. And because I've just been reflecting, in the past week, like, man, I had such a beautiful experience. This third ceremony, it was beautiful. It was sacred. It was powerful. I had an ego death. I released so much from my body. I released so much from my mind. I released some soul contracts that I just chose not to agree to anymore. And and I kind of cleared some things from past lives, and there's so much that happened, which I'll go into more detail. But again, it was such a beautiful, powerful, potent experience. And I was thinking to myself over this last week that I've been integrating, like, and I, by the way, I'm gonna give you my thought process here, but this was not from a place of self-judgment. This was really from a place of curiosity and self-awareness, and just kind of acknowledging how things unfolded for me. Um, so the thought was like, wow, I like Bufo, the medicine has been calling me back for at least 3 years. And I really took my time to come back to the medicine. And again, like I said, I'll even admit it. Like I have no shame in any part. I just have no shame about anything, but I have no shame to say that I was like just definitely resistant, because this is what I wrote down in my journal. I'm scared of how powerful I could be. That's what I wrote down, and that's the truth. And so, and it happens to many of us. Excuse me, I ate something, a gluten piece of bread, and it always makes my nose itch. So that's what I'm doing if you're watching me on video. Um, but it happens to many of us where we are resisting something, or we're being busy, or filling up our calendar, or just focusing so much on our external reality, because we are actually fearful of how powerful our internal world is. And for me, Bufo takes me inside. It's an internal experience. I know with Bufo alveris, it has the reputation. A lot of people blast off and they go off into the cosmos. And I did that too, but that was like a shorter part of my experience. For the majority part of this third experience that I had, it was just a really deep internal process. And it's so potent and powerful. Like, I gotta admit it, like I was procrastinating and resisting it because I literally wrote down in my journal, like, I fear my own power. And sure, there's programs, we've been trained to do it, you know, this world, there are powerful people that don't do good in the world, right? And so there can be some limiting beliefs there. We might assume that all powerful people are bad, or we might assume that we have to be righteous and we can't be powerful. So you could dive in if that resonates with you, you can just, ask yourself a couple questions about the two things that I said, like what your limiting beliefs are about being powerful. Do you believe all powerful people are evil, or they work for the darkness, or that they're out to harm people? Because that's not true, right? That's just that those are examples that we have in the media. Those are examples. We see a lot of powerful people that are not out for the benefit of humanity. They are not, acting from compassion and care and love and kindness and abundance and generosity. Um, but in our world, they don't show us the people the powerful people who are, but they're out there. They're out there. So so anyway, that's a whole limiting belief rabbit hole that I'm probably still navigating myself through, and that was part of the reason why I was resisting this particular Bufo session. But you know what? Like last week, I reached out to my person probably 2 or 3 days before, because I came out of a meditation and I was like, okay, I'm ready. I'm like, yes, part of me is scared, because that's where the resistance has been coming from. It's been, coming from fear. But I was like, I'm just going, and even though I've done Bufo twice before and had amazing experiences, and then after my first two Bufo experiences, there were so many amazing things that unfolded in my life. Like I had some of the most exciting transformations and upgrades in my life, and career shifts and all types of things after the first Bufo session, and the second Bufo session gave me a whole nother timeline upgrade within itself. So I had positive experiences, but I was still just really hesitant. Another question that I have here that I wrote down, to help kind of prompt this conversation is, what was happening in my life that made me realize that something needed to change? The thing that was happening in my life was a disconnection between the heart and the mind. Okay. And it's not that every day we need to be super aligned heart and mind. It's great if that could be our dominant vibration, if we could have that dominant or that coherence between the heart and the mind, 80% of the time, that's a great space. You don't have to strive for perfection. Don't be hard on yourself. But for me, I was in a space where I was feeling like my mind and heart were miles and miles apart. I mean, and every week they were drifting further apart on different frequency wise. Frequency in terms of frequency, my heart was on one page and my mind was on another page. And even though I was coming back to my practices, my Kundalini yoga, my meditation, my cold plunging, like all the things that I do on a daily, weekly basis, even those practices, I feel like there was just a limit of how much I could actually align myself, because the disconnection between the heart and mind was just, there was like this huge gap that needed to be addressed. And some of these plant medicines are powerful because they could help you shift your perspective without doing a lot of heavy lifting and in a short amount of time. So that's what was happening. I just was like really conscious of this disconnection between the mind and the heart. And quick note, when your heart and mind are in coherence, when they're in alignment, this is when life feels less challenging, less hard. There will still be challenges, but you actually have less resistance. You feel like things are actually happening for you because you're calibrating to realities that you've already created for yourself. You don't have to try hard to create something or create an outcome or manifest something like, oh, I need to manifest this thing. It's already there for you. All you have to do is to attune to the frequency. And we do that by being our most authentic self. We do that by activating our heart energy and using our heart energy to be in our divine frequency and aligning our heart frequency with our mind, having that heart mind coherence. So it's really, really important for your consciousness journey, your path of evolution. Even if you're just starting your journey with healing trauma, it's still even powerful to, you might feel like heart chakra. I'm still trying to heal my root chakra, and that's okay, but just just the power of aligning the mind and heart is so significant. And so when you do feel that gap like I did, and you sense that the gap is so far off, um, that's when you need to listen to the intelligence of yourself, your intuition, um, or things that are showing up in your reality. Like I said, I consciously knew that I was being called back to Bufo. I just made up so many excuses. But then, last week there, like I said, there was a couple days before the ceremony where, well, I mean, I scheduled it last minute and I was just like, this is important. I'm going to put myself first. The next question is, what part of me do I think actually died in the ego death experience? I had this huge, profound ego death, and it was a tuggle. I mean, this version of my ego was not gonna let go without a fight. So like I'm on the floor and I had a beautiful facilitator holding space for me. And I kind of already told her, what might happen and how how deep and how dramatic my Bufo experiences typically are. I'm not the person who just kind of again closes their eyes and blasts off. Like a lot of physical stuff is always happening. I'm releasing, my body's like bouncing off the ground, or I'm shaking and releasing lower frequencies from my body. Or I'm moving, or my Kundalini is moving all throughout all my chakras or my whole entire body. There's like, 3 or 4 different things all happening at once. And I did feel my Kundalini rising as I was having this, what seemed to be agonizing ego death. And I've had many ego deaths before, but typically sometimes they happen gradually over, a couple of months without medicine. But this particular one was happening in a matter of minutes and seconds. And I even remember my like yelling like, I'm dying, I'm dying. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like, what do I do? And I'm just like trying to like save this part of my ego. And my beautiful facilitator, she goes, just surrender. And I just surrendered and I let go. And then that's when I went off into another realm of consciousness. My body just kind of laid there. That's when I was able to close my eyes. That I was able to like that part of my brain was able to completely just die, so to speak, right? That ego death. And if you don't know much about Bufo alvaris, you might want to do your own research. But it does significantly reduce the activity in the DMN, the default mode network. It can almost, it seems like it shuts that part of your brain off. It either shuts it off or it just turns down all the activity in that part of your brain to where you could actually reset yourself. And that part of your brain, it helps you, on a day-to-day basis, it helps you maintain your sense of self, right? Identity, your life story, self-reflection, your future planning. Any stress and anxiety typically can kind of come from this part of the brain. And it can also come from your amygdala. I understand that that's another part of the brain. But typically it's default mode network. And then also just like, attaching things from our past or past situations or just everything and basically everything involved with our logical mind that is trying to help us survive, right? So we can get into this survival state, whether it's a mental survival, emotional survival. For some people, it's physical survival, financial survival, whatever it is, this survival mode can literally take over And that's where our soul kind of gets suppressed, I believe. And that's when our mind and heart may not be in coherence because your mind is like, oh my gosh, I have to survive. Now, some people are facing real threats to their survival. So yes, focus on that if that's you. But that obviously that has not been me recently. For me, it was this illusion of, oh my gosh, I need this thing to survive, or I need to do this, or I need to have all these clients or an extra business or like all these things. And so it was just a powerful ego death. And I really cherished the experience. Like I like remembering the moment of like the tussle, the fight, where that like that I honor that feeling of what it felt like for that ego to just kind of dissolve. And even though it was screaming for help, it would it that dissolving yeah, that energy of it dissolving allowed me to create more space in myself. And of course, like after that experience, I feel like I have more space. I do feel like my mind and my heart, again, they were miles apart before, and now it's just instant alignment and coherence that I created. The medicine allows us to experience ourself. It's not that the medicine is doing something for you or it's healing you or it's fixing you. It's you doing this for yourself, but it gives you a different perspective and it allows you to access different superpowers and it allows you to access your heart and your soul and release things from your body that you typically can't do when the ego is fully online trying to control everything. So I think that's one of the benefits of most plant medicines and certainly Bufo. Let's see. So another question I wrote down for myself is what did this ceremony teach me about survival? This survival energy, it it consumes our body. It's not just a mental thing. Like, yeah, it starts in the mind, but it actually like there's like these balls of energy of survival that go into different places, not just your chakras, but into your fascia, your body, your organs. And so like I was having like this physical experience, like my body was moving. I was on the floor, but I'm like shifting. My legs are going one direction, my arms are going another direction, my back is lifting off the floor, like stuff is shooting out of my chest energetically. Now, I'm clairvoyant, so on a regular day, I can see energy and density. And then when I'm on Bufo, I see a lot more energy and density and just magical things happening with the beautiful gift of clairvoyance. And I started to suppress that too in my daily life recently because I just felt like, oh, I don't have space for that. I have 5 meetings today, and they're all about business and clients and XYZ. Like I don't have time for my clairvoyance. I don't want to see someone's energy. I don't want to see their aura when I get on a 3D meeting with someone. And yes, I have I have my coaching business and my astrology business, and I have some other work that I do. So I was kind of feeling like, oh, I don't have space for my gifts. But but being able to release that and what that ceremony taught me is just how painful the energy of survival actually is to our soul, because it's very painful when it's not when you're not in any actual physical survival situation. When the illusion of survival, when you're playing on that program, it is so painful to the soul because now your soul can't express and it suppresses your gifts, your purpose, insights, intuition. It will suppress almost anything and everything it can because you can't hear it, you can't see it. Your heart rate is different, your actions are different. You're not, you know what I mean? Like you're not allowing your inner world, your inner reality to express. And our external reality is all based on our internal reality. That's just one of the laws of the universe. So it's almost impossible to just focus on your external reality without doing any kind of real deep internal work. What surprised me the most about this experience. And I think I was surprised about how much I released. Like this was probably my most powerful and potent experience. My third time doing it. My first time, I felt like, whoa, that was powerful. Like I did this, I had all these reactions because one of the benefits of Bufo is if you've had reactions to traumas or dramas earlier in your life that you didn't get to physically express, when you wake up from when your mind is coming back online, you're coming back into your body can start to do like play out those reactions, and you won't know what situations it's tied to, or like what event or what situation or what relationship or what trauma it's tied to. You'll just have the reactions. And so I always used to think like, wow, my first Bufo ceremony, I had so many reactions that needed to like get out. But then the second Bufo experience topped that one. And then this one, um, I don't think I was releasing things from the past. It was just everything all the energies that I've actually currently taken on. I have just taken on so much within the last 12 months, energetically, mentally, emotionally. Just things happening, family dynamics, my mom, um, being diagnosed with cancer earlier this year, and I've been with her, supporting her, taking care of her, helping her in every way that I can, during her journey so that she can find some recovery in that. It's just it's life stuff, right? So it's and of course, like I'm here for my family, like, but at the same time, we end up taking on so much energy. So that's what was surprising. It was just I released so much. I it just for reference, I did do like, kind of like 3 doses of medicine within the hour and a half session. So the session was an hour and a half. And if you're wondering how Bufo works, you inhale it. It's medicine that you inhale. And I have a issue inhaling. I always have. But the practitioner knew that. And so we kind of, I inhaled a little bit of medicine the first time, and I had some physical things come up and I was just kind of releasing. And then I inhaled the second time, and that's when I kind of had the big ego death, and then I do know that my consciousness completely left my body, and I don't, and there's always a part of my Bufo experience that I don't remember, and I don't in the end, but I always trust whatever happened during that portion that I don't remember is all good. Because I probably just went to go to source. I probably went to God. We are God, right? I am God, you are God. The God within me just went to go connect to the source of God, of who and what God is, the source of all. And then just when I was ready to drop back in, I dropped back in. And then I took a third dose because my body was still releasing so many things. And while my body's releasing, my Kundalini is just being activated 10 times more than usual. I mean, I work with my Kundalini energy. Again, I kind of got a little inconsistent with that because again, I was like, oh, I don't have time to work with my Kundalini. I need to be grounded. I don't need to be woo-woo today. But boy, did my Kundalini energy wanted to let me know, like, hey, you haven't been activating me, but I'm activated now and I'm coming through whether you're ready or not. And I've had Kundalini awakenings, but the awakenings are not like a one-time thing. There's a lot of every day is a choice. There's a conscious choice that you have to make to really access your internal power and work with your Kundalini energy, that Shakti energy. So yeah, my Kundalini energy was so powerful. And again, I wasn't scared during the ceremony, but when I think back now, I'm like, oh, there's like a little bit of fear that comes up, like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm that powerful. Like, and there's that smallness in me that's like, oh, let's not tap into that again. But I know that's not my path. I know I'm here to be a reflection of how powerful you are because you are powerful, whether you want to choose it or not, or you believe it or not. The people who do want to see it within themselves, they end up crossing in my path, and I mirror their power back to them. Because again, we are all powerful beings. We are all God having an individual experience. And yeah, I think I'll wrap this one up because I have another call in about 1 minute. I have so much more to say, and I'm only a week in. And also, my intention is to fit in like a 3-day water fast to continue to integrate my experience. So I think I'll be doing that this weekend, just to further integrate, journal, and probably see if I can remember any other insights from my experience. I do remember getting a lot of downloads that I do remember, a lot of information, even down to the my astrology. Like I just know that my relationship with Western astrology is shifting and it's ending. Even though it's like, man, it's like right when I feel like I master something, my soul is ready to move on to something else. And there's different types of astrology that I've spoken about. There's Vedic astrology, there's draconic astrology, and there's real sky astrology. And I'm not going to get into any more astrology, but I'm just saying that I did get some confirmation in my Bufo ceremony that I've still been sitting with because the ego's like, oh man, we're gonna have to shift a different, we're gonna have to shift the type of astrology, then this is gonna have to change, and this is gonna have to change. But the soul, but I'm just reminding myself, the heart is like, hey, just chill. You like I've already been feeling a disconnection to Western astrology recently, even though I've been doing it for 4 or 5 years. I've just been feeling like it's not resonating with me or even some of my clients. And so I already knew that this was coming, and then I just got that clarity in my Bufo ceremony as well. So hopefully this was helpful. That's kind of that's what I've been up to in the last week. And I kind of miss doing these personal episodes where I'm just talking about like life in my life. But tune back in for the guest episodes. They're even numbered. My solo episodes are odd numbered. I might continue to take a little bit of a break from those astrology episodes just because I want to really sit with how I'm going to deliver the next type of astrology, whether that's draconic astrology or I might really start presenting real sky astrology, just depending on what I'm feeling called, like where am I being called to deliver this info and how I need to deliver this info. Because I think since we're evolving and moving so fast and so quickly, and our world is changing, and 2026 is like the last year that things are going to look the way they look. So I think the collective is definitely ready to move on from Western astrology. So anyway, thank you again. Please share this episode with at least one friend. Subscribe to the podcast, subscribe to the YouTube channel, and comment below. Thank you so much. Namaste and have a great day.